Hey everybody, this is Chad Kaler, field agronomist with Beck's Hybrids in East Central Illinois. I just want to take a few minutes here to cover a few things on getting out and looking at your stands and evaluating the placement of seed and evaluating your stands and how good a job your planter did with spacing and also seeding depth. You know, there's a couple critical things as we think about seeding depth and spacing. We know that uniformity of emergence is very important for highest yields, and we also know that even spacing is very important as well. So one of the things I want to show you here in this field today is first of all the staging of the corn plant. So first, where my knife is pointing to is the first collar on this V1 corn plant. So it's a leaf collar that's exposed, and this is the rounded tip leaf right here. And that's a V1 corn plant because that collar is exposed. It's not yet V2. So this is a V1 corn plant, and if we look below that, we can see the leaf sheath that is or was the coleoptile that came out of the ground. The shoot that came out of the ground, the coleoptile is right there. Okay, so the next thing you want to look at is do a double check and see how deep that corn was actually planted. You may be surprised at what you find. I'm in a field right now that has some inconsistencies in the stand, and some of what I'm finding is that we have a very shallow planting depth. So here we have the seed, obviously, and we have the radical root system right here coming out below the seed, and we have the seminal roots that usually tend to come out towards the side of the seed. And let me see if I can turn this here for you a little bit so you can see that better. Okay, the seminal roots there coming out of the seed, and where this bump is at right here, and you can just barely see it right now, is where the nodal root system is going to come out. That's going to be our primary root system. But right there where that bump is at, or where that nodal root system is going to come out to that seed, is the mesocotyl. We want to look for very white, clean tissue there, very healthy tissue, that mesocotyl. But that mesocotyl usually needs to be a minimum of 1 inch long. Here we're barely reaching a 1/2 inch long. So this corn was planted very shallow. So in general, we take the length of that mesocotyl and we add 3/4 of an inch to get our planting depth. This corn was planted about 1 inch deep. So this corn actually came up a little bit sooner, but the problem is we may run into floppy corn syndrome in this case. Now, if I look at in the row, missing plants, if I go down the row here, we see some plants that are very well uniformly spaced and look like they're uniformly emerged, but we get down the row where there's missing plants, and just scraping the soil back a little bit, I find seeds that are barely even germinated. So there's one here that did not germinate. There's one here that did not germinate. And there's one here that just barely started to sprout because it had enough moisture, just barely, to begin the germination process, but did not continue to do anything because it didn't have enough moisture. So make sure you get out and evaluate your stands. Look for uniformity of emergence, uniformity of spacing, and assess your planting depth. Look at that mesocotyl length and make sure it's where you thought you were going to be when you were planting. If you have any questions, contact your local Beck's representative. Thank you very much.